So I'm trying to get this pool cleaned out before it get dirty. Got plenty of frog eggs in it. I'm trying to get them out. And it seemed like somebody might have been back here trying to put something in it. I found a black plastic bag in there. It was just one, but of course I would know if something's off, and it's really no way for it to fly in when it's covered on all sides. But it's possible, but stay off this property, no trespassing. And yeah, I'm just chilling out because I was just thinking about something else. I don't know. I'm just still on this thing where I feel like either the boy's dad just the boy's so-called dad wants to know where I'm getting money from and stuff like that in some type of way. Like I just feel like it's none of your business. Don't worry about it. If it ain't coming out your pocket, don't worry about it. Cause yeah, it's not coming out his pocket for the time being or whatever. Well, I hadn't received anything in a while. Knowing you got two kids, because God told me to fully rely on Him, and that's what I'm doing. Yeah, it's looking crazy back here, but it'll be all right. Had to take a little Gatorade break because it's definitely hot out here. But I came out here to try to clean out that pool. I be having to try to force myself. But seeing the frog eggs, been hearing the frog, of course, at night, and so trying to get that up out of here. But I think it finds its way back to the water or whatever. I guess they can sense where the water is. That's why I try not to. If it ain't full, I don't try to leave a little bit of water in there. But just thinking about that, because then I go back to when him and my daughter's so-called dad, they dapped each other up, and see, that was the thing that the boys' so-called dad was kind of looking for or whatever. Dapped each other because he was looking for that, because when they seen each other in the club, I tried to dap your baby daddy up and he played me. I didn't give a damn then, and I damn sure don't give a damn now. But I guess you got what you wanted, him to dap you up. You don't know what you're shaking hands or dapping up with, coming into agreement. Because if you ask me, you didn't have to do all that at all. I don't think I ever shook his baby mama hand. I don't know. I might have, but I don't know. But even if I did, he's the one that brought me to meet her and told her to come back or whatever. And which is fine. But when him and my daughter's so-called dad met, they was at my house. I mean, not met, but because they had already knew each other. But when they I guess I ain't gonna say got cool, because I don't feel like they ever got cool. But whenever they was on cordial terms, that one day, the boys' so-called dad was coming back from the from work, I guess like a lunch break or whatever. He was coming for something. I think I knew he was coming, but and at the same time, my daughter's so-called dad was coming to get her for a change, and actually showing up. And they showed, you know what I'm saying, they was there at the same moment. And that's when my daughter's so-called dad took the initiative to take her in the house and try to talk to him or whatever. And they talked, and then they laughed and all that, and they dapped each other up. I was good. I was glad, because I'm like, okay, ain't no problem. Shouldn't be no problem from here on out or whatever. And then, of course, I called my daughter's so-called dad on the phone after he took my daughter. Went on. I was like, well, what's going on? I wanted to kind of hear it from him or whatever. I didn't make them have the encounter. They had it at my house for a reason, which, of course, it included me. It's just I was in the house kind of on looking over my children, watching over my children. And then, I don't really mean to have this music in the background. I just wanted to hear that one song, Snatch His Soul or whatever. But anyway, so yeah, they left. And I did start to pray before. I didn't even mean to, but I just literally, when I feel like a spirit of maybe fear or just something, I just go into prayer, praying that, trusting that I'm praying something regarding peace. And on that day, it was peace. There was nobody to interfere with them. It was just us. Let me go try to turn this off, because I don't really want to hear that. Like, I literally don't want to hear that right now. Oh, yeah, these are some frog eggs I done took out of there.
I just know this nigga gonna knock my head off. Break that dick, bitch, but break that dick, bitch, but break that.
Let me turn it down. I'm not gonna turn it off. But yeah, so they did that or whatever. And then I was just hoping from that point on that we would band together, because I was already cool enough with his daughter. I thought was cool enough with his daughter's mom, and I thought we would just work as a team. Anyway, it's just no chance. I don't see no chances of that at this point in time, because they all of them, all three of them, individually and maybe even collectively, came against me regarding my child, my household. Why? Why y'all want to deal with me in that type of manner? Because they be feeling like, oh, she thinks she's smarter than everybody. Oh, she outsmarted or whatever. My daughter's so-called dad was like, oh, you trying to outsmart me? Then the other one's like, oh, you think it was the message coming back to me from somewhere? I'm sure he probably heard it from somebody, or unless he came up with it himself. You think you smarter than everybody? No, I think I'm wise. Like I've said before, if y'all would sit down and hear and listen and have ears to hear, I think I'm wise. I believe I'm wise, and I try to operate in wisdom, and that's just that. But I guess they took offense to it or whatever and felt the type of way, and that's when my daughter's so-called dad talking about nobody know how to take you. Okay, well then bye. You don't know how to take me, then you don't bother me. You don't try to come for me. You just be like, man, she ain't the one we want to mess with. If that's the case, do not try to bother with me. Like, don't tamper with me. So I'm just thinking about that because, yeah, on that day, my daughter's so-called dad, she was like, she might as well have been, but no, he was like, yeah, he said he'd keep you if you get a job. And this is the thing. I was already working hard in the household anyway, dealing with him every day and night and stuff like that, and couldn't get missing out on sleep and stuff like that. I was already working hard. I don't care what nobody say, and ain't nobody taking that away from me. But they wanted to see it in a natural sense. It's like, yeah, so if you get a job. So that was definitely before my younger son was born that it happened. It might have been like 2014. It might have been 2015, and I was pregnant. I don't know. Oh no, it was 2014, I believe, because I think I sent the message to my own so-called dad, and I don't know if he got it or read it, and don't think he cared. I think after that, somebody up in that generation must have been feeling like, oh no, they can't have no understanding quicker than we got it in this, that, and the third. Basically, like it's a competition, and like, oh, we gonna let them show us up. So I'm like, honestly, that's why some of y'all is leaving, because that's on y'all that y'all don't sit down and have the conversations that need to be had, or nobody even try to initiate it. I even try to initiate it with mine, so I feel like I'm actively working towards let's do better. Let's see how we can, and honestly, who's going to have to sacrifice, not who's going to be sacrificed. At one point in time, that's how I felt, and at this point in time, I'm not saying nobody got to be sacrificed. Of course, they have selected me that I feel and know of, but I'm just at this point in time though, because they have tried to do all of that, and it didn't work. Now they might have done forfeited, and somebody or a couple people might have to be quote unquote sacrificed. You know what I'm saying? I'm like I said, I don't get into all that. I don't sit here and meditate on who. I just say, let it be done according to your will. And I try to acknowledge, like, Lord, it seems like they done chose me. Do I agree with that? Am I? No, because I ain't did nothing to y'all that was wrong. I did what was right by everybody. So, then y'all showed y'all true colors. I guess y'all got tired or whatever the case. I don't know. It showed y'all true colors, so y'all hold it down. So, yeah, but when he was like, yeah, he said he'd keep you if you get a job. Now, see, this is not something that he discussed with me. He told me he liked me being at home with his kids. And at the time, of course, his daughter was coming over here. My daughter was definitely here with us. And then, and at the time we only had my one son, but we got two now. And so that's what I went off of. And I was already home because I had gotten laid off, and I was collecting unemployment and stuff like that. So that's how my money was coming in. It wasn't, and I was probably getting some child support or whatever from him. But it was my unemployment check was way more than the child support. So whatever. So then, that's what he said to me. I like you being at home. And it was so genuine. You can tell that he really meant that. But then other people started interfering and probably saying, why she ain't working? Why did it ain't none of y'all business? And that's what I don't like about the boys' so-called dad, because when he started letting other people get in his ear, then his mindset of what he thought was okay changed. And it's like, at first you was like untainted with, you was not, it was pure. It was, to me, it's from God that you feel natural that, oh, she should be at home, or it's okay for her to be at home with the kids. But when other people started getting in, and I didn't allow a lot of that. I've heard people, but I didn't give a damn. It went in one ear and out the other, if it even went in. So he did that, and then he started saying that to other people. And so that's when my daughter's so-called dad started saying, you get up off your ass. But meanwhile, he wanted to be a drug dealer, a mama's boy, so he could live off his mom. Oh, Lord. What? Don't step on that box. Those are tadpole. Those are frog eggs. It was in the pool. I gotta get some more of them out. You came out here to do what now? Well, what did I tell you to do when he does that? Okay, did you do that? Did you try it?
Yes. Then he started blowing his air out.
Did he follow you?
Yes.
He followed you after you got up and left?
Yeah, and then he blew in my mouth.
How did he get that close to your mouth?
Because he was trying to blow me.
blow at you?
Yes, because he blowed out.
So he followed you into another room.
Yes.
What room was you in? The living room first?
Yeah.
And
then the computer room.
then he followed you.
Yes.
He got up off of the thing and followed you in there and tried to blow. Well, you should have punched him in his face. Next time, I'm trying to tell you, you're going to have to do something.
But I did slap him.
Oh, that's when you slapped him?
Yeah, I was trying to hit him.
Well, you got the right to protect your person's face, because he's not supposed to be following you nowhere. I'm over here. I can't hear you. I don't know. I'm getting them. They was in the pool. I'm trying to get them. I'm trying to get them on. Then come over and get it off. Knock it off. Was it a red ant?
Yeah.
Yeah, they will bite. Yeah. But then when you see it, try to knock it off. Don't just, you can tell me, but try to knock it off for me.
I saw one of those black ants, and they just their fangs.
Yeah, so you locked the door when you came out?
Yes.
Well, if you want to sit out here, that's fine. I'm just doing my video over here. You can get that net off of the swing and swing over there or something. Or just go sit down. I don't know. But anyway, so yeah, if he follows you, that means that somebody's trying to attack you and get in your space. And you do have permission to push him or get him off of you. And oh well. Ain't nothing I can do, because I'm not finna do that. See, ain't no coincidence this stuff like this be popping up between blood brothers, but it is what it is. My older son, better leave him alone. I don't know if that's his way of trying to train him to be tough or whatever. But yeah, so he has said, oh, he'll do this and get it out. And then, but that's the thing, why didn't he sit down and discuss that with me? And why did the boys' so-called dad, you going back in? Why did the boys' so-called dad, allow for us to be divided and let somebody else talk to? Because my daughter's so-called dad knew what to do to get me. He knew he couldn't tell me to just go in the house. He told me to take my daughter in the house, and that's his way of being able to, I guess, get over on me or whatever. Heck yeah, I'm gonna take my daughter out of harm's way. When it's two grown men talking or whatever, they might have some animosity towards each other. But that was his slick way of, this the only way, he was quick with it too. This the only way I'm gonna be able to talk to him without her right there. No, baby, and I was still right there, and I could have went out, but I wasn't led to go out, so I didn't bother. But him saying that just was trying to get the heat off of him for not working, not wanting to contribute, just not wanting to contribute, because he had already told my so-called mom, oh, she got that nigga over there, why would I be? He wasn't paying before. He wasn't trying to pay no money before then. So whatever to that. And he wasn't trying to raise our daughter. He was still running the streets, but he was like loving her and caring for her, but he was not trying to raise her. He was putting her off on his mom and still doing whatever. And then that added to me and his so-called mom having the fuel and stuff. And he didn't care. He didn't give a damn if we tore each other to shreds. And like he's told me before, if me and the boys' so-called dad killed each other and left my daughter behind, and then he got to a point where he just felt like that, then he didn't give a damn if me and his so-called mom would go back and forth. But then he started being like a little pit bull again for his, or Rottweiler for his so-called mom. So I was like, boy, that's you and your mammy, because I'm not doing it. I'm not getting in that with y'all. So his mama know I don't like her, and I'm not getting in that with them, and that's why I just pray that God covers my daughter and not be used in that. And I told my daughter early, do not get in their stuff, because that is between them. Don't be, I wouldn't be, but my daughter got a cell phone from his so-called mom, so she feel pressure. And then, like, don't get in stuff with your so-called dad and his mom. That's not your place. You can have feelings about stuff, but that's not your place. And if anything, it would be to side with your dad, but her dad is definitely ain't nowhere near always right, if at all. But that's what he told me, and that was, again, to get the heat off of him, because my boy's so-called dad, at one point in time, he was like, yo, baby, your daughter's dad ain't paying such and such. He was worrying about, to me, it was the wrong stuff. It's like, are you here for the right reasons? And I guess then that's when I should have knew it wasn't the right reasons, because you even concerned about what another man doing or not, instead of you just stepping up to the plate. I'm not, it's one thing if I was still laying up with him, and maybe you knew, and I was not at all, wasn't going there with him. But even then, that's when you decide, hey, I don't want that in my life, I'm gonna leave it. But I feel like he couldn't even leave me if I was doing that, because he was doing it. He was doing it first, But I wasn't doing that. I never went back to my so-called baby, my daughter's so-called dad. 2010 was it. This is 12 years later, baby, and I ain't went back. so my daughter was 2 back then. But and I'm gonna be honest, my daughter's so-called dad, he didn't really put no pressure on me like that. He was out doing some other stuff. He didn't put no pressure on me like that for me to try to come back to him. He said little comments every now and then, but he did not try me on no stuff like that for the most part. Yes, on the small part and at least, yes, he did. But that was it. It was just a trying, and he failed at it. He knew I didn't want him. So, but I that's something that I would respect, because it's like, yeah, let's just raise our daughter. We not on that. Let's move on. So I guess, I don't know. My daughter's so-called dad made him start feeling like, oh gosh, I about broke my darn neck trying to make sure a bug didn't get on me. That's how I know I need to go in the house. But my daughter's so-called dad started trying to get up under his skin. He was hearing stuff from my so-called mom. She was going back and telling my daughter's so-called dad stuff, that dude was over here beating on me, or we was fighting and this, that, and that. And we had our tussles and stuff. But dude was not, and I'm not making no excuses. He did dig his fingers in my skin and this, that, and that. He do little stuff that where he tortures you and torments you, but he did not punch me, and so I guess I was not that offended. Not that I shouldn't be offended by the other, and I did feel offended by the other stuff, but I just didn't. I always forgave him, because I'm like, shit, we just got room to make our mistakes and sort through it and hope we come through it. But it is what it is. I guess it happened like it happened for a reason. That's my so-called mom trying to tell, and I just felt like she was trying to tell him stuff, them like separate stuff. Let me go in the house real quick, because this ain't it, sis. I'm gonna finish talking about it in the house. It's probably gonna be 2 videos, because usually it is. I just didn't feel like taking all this stuff in the house right now and all that. And I'm glad I don't be leaving nothing outside, overnight, because I ain't got no fence, so people could be slick or whatever trying to take stuff. But yeah, I'm getting ready to go in here and get cool real quick, because baby, I tried it with this heat. I can't do it right now. Anyway, finish saying what I was talking about. Shoot, I ain't mad at him.
Begins with a montage of an office where many employees are busy.
Okay, I'm gonna be in my room. So, what are you? There's another room to go into with a computer. Go in there and turn that computer on and get you a video pulled up. Sheesh. Why y'all gotta choose a night room? So what was I saying? So yeah, the boys and stuff how that didn't stand up for us, and I guess yeah. Ooh. Oh man, I'm over here doing too much. That goes back to not really having courage, not having the wording, yeah, stuff like that. Oops. Okay, let me but yeah, not having the word, not having courage, and like the word, and like somebody told me and taught me, if you don't have the word, then you faint. And now I understand it, and I've seen it happen, so it's like I don't want to be that person that faints either in the face of certain stuff. But so yeah. So that was all the drama, the riffraff, and like I was saying, feels like my own so-called mom and stuff. They was, when they have these side conversations, I don't know what was said. Boys and so-called dad tried to tell me something that my so-called mom said, something about him not putting his hands on me. I guess he went on to continue to put his hands on me, and oh well, that's just what it was. That was the time when she supposedly had stood up for me or whatever, and I didn't. I mean, it was what it was, but I guess because she hadn't done it enough that I didn't really receive it like that as all out protecting me as opposed to being messy. Because I feel like he was just going behind my back and stuff and trying to talk to people. Like, I really did not mean to send her an email that had something about him. He had busted my lip and he had like did something stupid in front of the kids. And like I said, he didn't do, it sounds worse than what I experienced that it was, because he didn't like it wasn't in a violent way towards me, or it wasn't in a way that scared me. It was in a way that pissed me off, and that, like, you know what I'm saying? Don't do that. And don't piss me off, because you don't want to see me pissed off. I was more protective of myself anyway. And then he did it in front of his mom. I don't know if she's seen it, but he did it in front of his mom. And he was like, did she come yet? And he was like, yeah, that's her stupid ass, or something like that. Yeah, any man that can say that about somebody in front of their mama, I feel like you just don't let him just talk to me like that, and you ain't, you know what I'm saying? You're a female, you're a woman, but anyway. He did, and it was what it was. But he's an actor too, so you couldn't really tell what parts was acting until like hindsight. You know what I'm saying? You look back, and still to this day, honey, he's such a good actor that you only God knows when he's acting, and that's why I will give him that. Like, it was a lot of stuff where he was acting, but when his acting just took over, it's like his alter ego. It just took over and it became him. So it got to a point where it's like, no, that's detrimental. That's not helping more than it's hurting. So I can't do nothing with that. And so yeah, my so-called mom was telling my daughter's so-called dad, oh, this is what's going on over there. She didn't hear it from my mouth. She went and told him that. He was, I guess, hearing it from other people. And then it was some of his people, his so-called people, was saying, yeah, he over there putting his hands on her and this, that, and third. And this is the thing. These is supposed to be his blood cousins going and telling my daughter so-called dad. So y'all put my daughter so-called dad on a pedestal, I guess because he's supposed to have money or whatever, or at least y'all think he do. I'm not saying he broke. I'm just saying whatever he had, I definitely didn't know much about. And honey, whatever he had, his mama was going to get dibs on. Y'all was not. If you thought that y'all was going to be getting some, it's his mama and then possibly his daughter. I'm not even going to front. Possibly. And then, of course, his little girlfriends or whatever he going to trick on. But yeah, they was tight with that. They wasn't, honey. Whenever he would get food from my house, it had to go through his mama having some card that he had some money on, and she had to do it, and she determined whether, oh, that's too much or that's this. What? She don't live with him. I don't care if she wanted a $50 meal every week or more. I don't care if you ordering something and it's gonna feed my kids, but if you don't want to, that's fine. Just let it be known. But they was acting like, oh, you know what I'm saying? We'll help with the boys too, and this, that, and third, especially his so-called mom. That's why it was so much deceit, man. It was so much deceit. So it was too many other folks' hands in the pot, and I just sat back and kind of watched and observed. And I was like, let me see who. And I didn't mean to, but I just sat back and I was like, let me see who communicating with who doing what. And they all was just basically communicating with each other. So that's why I said all of them sits around and feels some type of way about me. That's why now that my daughter have been out there, I was just like, well, who said what? I don't, and I guess they smart enough not to say nothing around her, maybe. But if she know that they covering certain stuff up, she gotta know that they be covering stuff up. Period. That's what they do. But she need to know that they not the only ones. They, you know what I'm saying, the ones that do seem to have dirtier hands ain't the only ones covering stuff up. The ones that seem to have cleaner hands covering up too. And that's, and honestly, the ones with the cleaner hands are supposed to be held accountable for how they leading by example. So, and especially regarding me, I just sat back and I look, and that's why I thank God I'm not on no kind of drugs. Yes, I've had my little drinks and stuff like that, drink, and then I'll relax or whatever, and barely